But right now, overall with the group right now, I have Justin, you've got 11 inspiration. Johan, you have 5. And Velixis or Rashad, you have, I did both names and non names, you have 6. So with those, like, don't forget, like, in essence, at that point, if you want to make sure Brannick can live, like at this point, as long as you don't roll a 1, you can automatically like pass a death save. And I think that's one of the most important things that can be useful for those things is making sure to keep your guy alive in deadly situations for stacking them. Um, I do want to bring up something before we jump into the actual session that I almost forgot. I created a feat which I want to play with, and I don't have any reason for it to cost you all anything to gain. So if everybody goes into your features and traits pane, and if you click manage feats, if you all scroll down to the ends, you should see noble sacrifice. As far as I'm concerned, that is a reaction that I want to play with. It effectively gives you the ability that when you are next to someone, you can basically push them out of the way and take the damage. Part of what it does is will change how much at different times. But in essence, it is your reaction to prevent damage to somebody who's right next to you. Um, if they're being targeted by like an actual attack, it's just whatever damage is dealt. You can do it after the attack hits, or you can do it after the damage is discovered. Um, I might alter that so it's after the attack hits, basically. So you have to recognize the attack to kind of do it. And then the other way it works is like inside of AoE. If you are outside of the AoE, you can basically dive in and take the damage. If you are inside of the AoE, you effectively take all of the damage possible. So it would be max damage. Um, and I just want to play around with that because I feel like that's a pretty legitimate reaction. I'll have to see if I think it steals from other things. I think the only thing it might take from might actually be the shield feat, now that I think about it. But I feel like the shield feat is also um, a little bit different how it absorbs damage for a friend. I think you actually put yourself in the way more to block a shot than to necessarily take the damage for that person.
Yeah. Quick question in terms of like if we use that, does that result in our essentially our spaces being switched? Like if I jump in front of attack of someone to my 5 feet to my left, does that essentially mean we kind of like switch? Not that it's going to matter all that much, I guess, but just like in terms of how it would work movement wise.
On some level, I was definitely thinking of it as like the castling a king, so where it would switch you. I am not sure if there was a lack of a way to put it in there. I thought the words might be confusing, but I feel like that was kind of one of my afterthoughts because I wasn't entirely sure how much it would matter, and how often it would force that so much as I think the problem is like the actual action feels more like you would be jumping into their space, where you would be taking damage from being in the same space rather than that you're actually able to like throw them out of the way. And I feel like that was part of why I left the wording out.
Yeah, or maybe like yeah, like shouldering them aside, but like they're not actually moved 5 feet, but they're kind of like you just shove them just enough out of the way that you take the brunt. Yeah, I was just curious. So
Yeah, so I think what might happen is in the future I might do something like, say you take 5 damage and you're actually in the same space, and then it deals all of the actual other damage as well. So it's slightly reduced damage for being in the same space. Oh, and that was one of the other things is certain characters, like small characters, can actually do it a little bit more successfully. So in the long run, I feel like that'll kind of come up in a like point two on how realistic it feels when it's actually used. The biggest thing was is I was trying to look for a way to make it um, both something somebody would want to do as well as something that still did have a high cost to doing it. Not like a prohibitive cost, but still like a cost.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Did everybody otherwise find that all right?
Yeah.
So we have you all approaching the port side of the ship. You are effectively, say, like 5 feet or so below the actual, like, kind of like outboard railing where you all can effectively climb on the ship as you approach that, like, midship. Um, Effectively, those little, like, white dots that you see along the actual beam, I feel like those are basically where this is trying to show that it has like railing there. And then the actual stairs. Do I have the whole back of the ship revealed for you? Let me look at my bot. Not currently.
I just see a black screen.
Yeah, so that bottom white dot is about where the stairs kind of show. I feel like at this point, just with where Johann is, he actually has a view of that back of the ship. So kind of like the bottom white dot, that's where the ship starts to rise back up and is probably say like an entire story extra. So say like 20, 25 feet overhead. Um but otherwise like where Johann and Brannick are and where Velixis is about to be is about 5 feet above your heads or about 5 feet above the ice. So kind of just about head height for the humans. And Brannick, at this point, you have a sense of this predatory creature, which, as you delve into its mind, are starting to sense that it is, um, whether you actually understand everything about what a troll is or not, or whether it's just kind of connecting with your kind of background, being told fairy tales and myth. This is a troll inside of here. Just the way it's hunting kind of a low level brain activity, but it is still intelligent enough that you're like gaining thoughts from it. Oh, I feel like that might have been why you picked it up, that it was kobolds, because this thing knows it's hunting kobolds. It basically ran the kobolds into the ship, and they are locked in like the hold, which is actually for you below the ice. And they're kind of locked in that aft side of the ship. So, as you all are approaching this area, making that connection with the troll, you can share that with everybody, and you all can kind of pick up with how you'd like to move forward. And I think Brannick would full on know that when you delve deeper into the creature's mind like this, it also is going to start to sense you, so is now aware that there's somebody, effectively like uh 30 feet away walking up next to it.
Yes, I feel like Brannick would kind of as the kind of connection goes deeper and as he, um, you know, gets a little bit of a fuller sense of this thing, he would almost kind of like almost like kind of jabs back mentally, um, or like resist or trying to resist him or like kind of counterattacking or whatever it was doing. Like Brannick would, um, he would kind of like almost like stumble back a step and like his hand, I feel like his hand would go kind of like involuntarily almost to like his temple and like he'd just gotten like a sharp pain and he would like to the others, he would just say like uh, something big, angry, bestial, knows we're here, like kind of very disjointedly trying to warn them. But like I feel like it would take him like a at least a few seconds to kind of recover from the um kind of the strain of this deeper delving. And he would like maybe mention other creatures trapped small, something like that.
Alexis wants to know if the creature that you are referring to, um, is that one would that one essentially be trouble, or it's the ones that he's going to get trouble? So I don't think the ones he's going to get is just trouble. But if he's here, are you able to tell what he's? Are you able to tell what he's wanting, what he's doing?
Seems seems hungry, probably looking for something or someone to eat. I doubt it'd be so picky as to forego us. Should should say be ready.
Oh joy! I've never been eaten before. Well, first time for everything, I guess. Let's hope. Let's hope that's not today. Any ideas on how to handle this thing, or what we should do?
As you're discussing this with them, are you delving into any other?
I think probably at this point Brannick is stopping that.
Gotcha.
And he would look to Johan like, do you see a way up?
So Mara, I know you don't like meta knowledge. So has the word troll been used? And if so, what like do people know the importance? Like what do we know about the dangers of trolls?
You can roll history or arcana on this, and that can be for the whole group.
I mean, for what it's worth, I don't think Brannick used the word troll, but he like maybe would have like he tried to use kind of like descriptive because I don't know if he would know just from delving like if it like even if like would the troll think of itself as a troll or probably not like
I completely agree there. I think often I will say stuff because it is easier to say than necessarily that my brain is thinking fast enough to give all of those descriptions. And I don't think everybody would have the same word for troll, though, given the right word regionally, I think everybody would think of the same creature. So I don't think Brannick necessarily needs to describe everything about a troll for somebody like Johan to maybe pick up qualities of a troll. That this tends to be a creature that is very much like a brute force predator. They tend to be very difficult to kill, and they tend to be like ambush predators as well.
Okay, so given that level of knowledge, Johann is pretty aggressive. So he'd certainly be scanning the deck for, shadows or movement like that. But otherwise, he would point to, that low area of the rail and say, we could go up amidships. Um, do you have a sense of if the creature is fore or aft, side or near us?
It's almost directly to your east, Brannick. So you can almost point directly east. You all would have a sense of the actual masts. Those are the 2 points I have revealed right there. All of the masts are like frozen with ice, like the rest of this ship, and it's on some level kind of almost directly east of that mast that you're kind of pointing, like basically between directly east of yourself and that actual mast that's on the ship. I was pinging It won't show up while I'm on that. There we go. So, like with that ping, I think that area of the circle is probably where you have a sense of it is. It's not necessarily where I am pinging, but I think like just because your sense is just like the vague understanding of a mind, that's kind of where you're basically like it's somewhere in that 15-foot section.
Yeah, Brannick would kind of like he'd point in that general direction, like somewhere there, that way.
Johann would be evaluating if, knowing that it's a large creature and thinking that it might not be that it might be wise to attack it from a distance. Could they? Is there rigging that they could scramble up to try to get above? Sort of head up into the into the mass and maybe fire down on a large creature.
I mean, it's all frozen. You're a ship, you're a crewman. I feel like you might wonder whether the ropes can hold any weight with ice to them, whether they'll shatter on you. But besides like an obvious danger of falling, there's definitely, what is it, 3 different masts at this point.
Let's suggest that I forgot her first name. Hold on. Yeah, it's sorry, Valissa suggests Florinda might be able to get his attention if she goes around to the other side of the ship and just kind of does a quick distraction just long enough, and we could either get on board the ship and catch it from behind, or potentially just all go together from this side. But if we can catch, if Florinda can distract it long enough for us to get on board and to distract it and to attack it from behind, that might give us a better chance.
I think at this point it knows we're here because like Brannick, when he reached out with his mind, it like recognized him. So it might not know like it doesn't know all the exact details, but it knows kind of we're here. So I'm not sure if we can take it by surprise at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah, it may be aware, but do you think it knows our exact position?
You definitely know that it knows where you're at. It's going for your brain right now, Brannick.
Okay, yeah. So I would, yeah. I think
Like you guys are basically sitting here talking, and Brannick is pretty sure that it's already walking for him. Because when they connected, he would have felt it starting to turn for him.
Yeah, so he would be like, it's coming this way. We need to get aboard and try and kill it.
Wait. If it's coming this way, we can wait until it peeks over and just all fire our attacks at it, and hopefully it'll cause us to stumble and it can fall off the ship down here.
Yeah, Johann thinks similarly, and I mean, I'm not sure if you want us to move, but he'd want to kind of uh, crouch alongside the hull of the ship and aim up so that if something peeks over the gunwale, he can take a shot at it. He'd also like to move. While doing so, he'd like to shift to a little further north. Rather than be tight in like this, he'd like to spread out a little.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are on a battle map. Move your miniatures. That's always how it is. If you want to be somewhere, you have to like show me what you're trying to do. So I think right now what we had going was I feel like Brannick was the one carrying light before. Who actually has light right now?
If I recall, I think we had reached here before it gotten super dark. But if it has since gotten dark, I think.
Well, it's always dim light here. So even if you guys have the aurora overhead, you're in darkness.
Okay, yeah. In that case, maybe Brannick would have kind of gotten a torch lit and having his mage hand hold it. Or
Yeah,
is that
that's one of the things
concentration? Or
that's no, mage hand is not. That's one of the things that's hard to remind people. Like the normal light of this place is obscured in darkness. You're able to spot some things, but you basically cannot see. And that's just the normal day to day.
okay, yeah. And I think kind of Brannick would be backing away from the ship a bit, and I feel like Stavrin, given why he's here, would be moving to interpose between them. But Stavrin's like, we shouldn't give it, you know, meet it head on.
So at this point, I think you guys have stalled enough that you are reasonably sure, Brannick, that this thing is about to come to you all. All right, so that should give you all the space that you're probably going to look for. So you all can roll initiative here, as you have a pretty solid understanding this creature is getting close to you.
I keep forgetting to click my icon whenever I roll for initiative.
So we are going to start off here with Johann. What would you like to do? At this point, I feel like you all can hear the footsteps of something large essentially approaching the actual deck.
Johann is crouched down, um, and will reserve his so I think what I'll do is I'll reserve firing my crossbow, but if the creature comes over the gunnel, or if someone else shoots at the creature, he'll shoot his crossbow. Otherwise, he'll. I think I'm going to move him even another 10 feet away.
You really have like one or the other. You can shoot at the creature if it shows into sight, or you can shoot where somebody else attacks, but you don't have like both. It's one trigger.
No, yeah, correct. I will shoot if someone else attacks.
Gotcha. Brannick, what would you like to do? Or I guess technically, Torleth is going to follow. What is Torleth doing?
As you can see from moved, he's basically backing up, um, somewhat expecting the creature to be in that position. Um, Other than that, if the creature does come close to him, as a reaction, he'll attack it. I think he has just a rapier, so it's really just a question if the creature is beside him.
Effectively, yes. Again, they are not full characters. Brannick, what are you doing?
All right, yeah. So Brannick is similarly sensing this creature coming. He's going to back up a bit. He's going to hold a firebolt if he sees something peek over the um, side of the ship. But I think Stavrin is going to.
1 second. Where are you keeping the mage hand?
Oh, maybe I'll keep it in front of me where I was, so like there, between Brannick and Stavrin tokens.
I feel like under the characters, you should be able to move a torch. But if I drop one there, you just want it there. But basically, beside the deck, it is not over the decking.
It's probably a good idea, but I didn't think of it, so I'll wait to do that next turn.
Gotcha.
But I feel like Stavrin he's looking for a way to climb up. If he thinks he can try to
You
scramble
can do
up
a
on it.
strength check. Yeah, as a reminder, if you all click on them under allies, under character sheet, you can open up that character sheet from them and basically have like the option for all their
Oh yeah,
checks.
forgot to hit the edit button. Yeah, so he's got a strength 18. It looks like, so that'd be a +4.
Yeah, I
3.
think the 10 is enough that he's able to climb up there. It definitely takes him some difficulty. And as he's kind of making the last throws to get up, he's going to see the shadow silhouette, rather, of this creature coming up from the stairs of the lower deck, almost 15 or 20 feet to his east. So as he's like pulling up that last bit of effort, he'll see the silhouette. Is he going to continue his way up and climb onto the deck from there, or is he dropping back down to kind of like stay hidden?
I think he's gonna stay up. He'd be kind of like pointing out, similarly to what Brannick was doing, but now that he actually kind of sees the shadow of the creature, he would be pointing towards it, maybe like leading with his blade. Um, and I think he would not charge like forward towards the end. He would kind of stay on the maybe at the like the edge of the ship, but on the ship, and he would similarly hold his attack for if it came closer. But in wanting to, if in worst case, giving himself a chance to possibly like jump off or something like that, or wait till the others are aboard.
Gotcha. He has effectively just enough movement to move to the creature and be able to attack, but he's going to hold at the edge of the deck.
Yeah, he'll attack when the creature comes within reach of him.
Gotcha. And then it's going to be on the creature itself.
And sorry, he would probably shout down to like Brannick, like, get the light up here. That'll give Brannick a reason to do that next turn.
All right, so Stavron is going to see as this creature is like tearing away a plank of wood from the mast as it like stamps towards him. And in the last few moments, it seems to just kind of push against him as it raises its hand high above his head. And Stavron's just going to feel like a cold bite of frozen air that starts to bite even deeper into his flesh as this thing gets closer. And as its hand is risen high above it, it is going to throw this plank of wood into Brannick. And that should be a solid hit as it whips this across to you. And it is going to do It is going to do 9 piercing damage as it throws this into you. And 8 cold damage. So a total of 17 damage as this just like sliver of wood is going to pierce through one of your shoulders. And you're going to feel like as the cold from where its hand was starts to bite into your bones.
Okay, so this was Brannick, right? Not Stavron.
Yep. It basically has moved past Stavron at this point to throw this. And then I think it's actually going to bite out at him and try to bite down onto Stavron, actually. I think a 12 is going to miss.
Stavron, yeah.
Yep. So that's going to take it to Velixis.
Okay, would Stavron get his attack as it within
Oh
melee
yeah, my bad.
closes?
Stavron definitely has his attack of opportunity there. 21 will hit and dealing 8 slashing.
And then, sorry, did Brannick see this as it reached the edge, so he can loose his firebolt?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's enough that it's able to be in view. That one is just going to sink into this creature's flesh, and you see as it doesn't even seem to singe the cold, almost as if this like little whirl of like frost around the creature kind of like consumed the firebolt before it even was able to hit the creature.
Okay, I don't even know if because I feel like Brannick would have like just gotten it off before that piece of wood came flying into him. I feel like that a solid hit like that, like kind of like knock him sideways, so he kind of missed the seeing that it didn't seem to have any effect. Like he doesn't really know what happened. He's that board or whatever that hurt him.
And then it's going to go to Velixis.
All right. So when he does pop his head over, Felix on from where she's at, she shoots a fireball up at him. Um.
All right, from where you're shooting, you're going to have plenty of the boat in your way.
Okay, then yeah, she's going back up a bit first. Then she jumps back and then she fires at him. So let me move her to where she jumps back to real quick. Okay, then yeah, she jumps back to like right about there, and she goes and fires a fireball out at the creature.
Gotcha. Make the attack.
Say what?
Make the attack. It's just going to slam into the deck of the ship.
Oh shoot!
Any bonus action? Otherwise, it will go to Florinda.
Nah.
So it's on Florinda, and Johan, you'll be on deck. If Florinda is doing nothing, Johan, what would you like to do?
Can I take a bonus action before my main action?
Yep.
As a bonus action, I cast Spiritual Weapon.
Gotcha. So you've got 60 feet. You should be able to affect the spiritual weapons under spells. I think right now there's a spear, but you can place it.
And what's the, let's see, so
60 feet. So you can, I think, easily cast it around the creature.
yep. Um, Weapon up to 20 feet and repeat the attack. Okay, so is the uh, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. So I don't quite understand. So is attacking with the spiritual weapon my main action, or is that too the
The
bonus
first turn,
action?
that's a part of the bonus of casting it. Casting it with that spell is effectively the free part of it. Attacks when you cast it. In subsequent turns, you can use your bonus action to attack with it without like expending a spell slot.
Okay, so I guess I've already rolled because a bunch of times.
Yeah, we take the first roll always, so it was that 25 and it did 11 damage.
Okay, and then other than that, can Johann get onto the ship with his movement? Like maybe.
You effectively put yourself as prone, so at this point, it's probably all of your movement to climb up.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll take all of my movement to get to maybe there.
All right, so as you climb up, you're going to see that. Oh, wait, do you have a light source? I don't think you
Uh,
have light right now. So I need you
no,
to
I
make a
don't.
dexterity saving throw. So as you climb up onto the ship, when you go to like hop yourself over the actual ledge, you're going to see there's no deck where you just climbed up. And at the last moment, you kind of catch yourself on the actual flooring, and you're able to move yourself onto the actual stairs. But right now, you have nowhere to stand, like south of where you are. There's just a chasm below you, and you can probably see 15, 20 feet down into the ship.
Okay. Um, and if I still have my action left, I will fire my crossbow at the creature.
That works. Go for it.
Except for the fact that I've apparently armed myself with my mace. So, um, well, so that's my so I don't. Well, I could cast a spell.
Yeah, you could like free action, put your mace away, and cast the spell at this point, doing a cantrip.
Okay. I. Okay. So does that mean that I can ready my crossbow for next time?
I mean, if you put away your mace now, you will not be readying your crossbow, but you can pull your crossbow as your free action and then shoot it as your action next time.
That is what I will be doing. And can I see into down below at all, or can I not?
At this point, you can use a perception check as your action to look down. The free action that you get, I mean, that's already kind of taking your free action to look because you almost fell down there. So really, I shouldn't even let you put your mace away. You're doing a little bit too much, but I think you've got everything that you get for now, unless you want to use your action to look down there.
Yes, I will use my action to try to
Gotcha.
see
Make a
down into the
perception
hole.
check. So, looking down into the hold, you can see that this hole is probably through 2 decks, probably into the actual hold um, of this ship. It's probably the second level, if not the third, or the third level, if not the second, are under the ice. There's a solid amount of snow already in this place, and you catch the gleam of things that are reflecting light. Um, More than just snow. You're pretty sure there's some sort of um, metal, like untarnished metal, if not kind of like gems inside of this hold.
And can I see the creature well enough to maybe identify it a little bit more?
At this point, no, it is obscured by the light. You as well are basically right now looking at just a silhouette of something that is humanoid, and it is massive. It's probably about 15, almost 20 feet tall, and basically makes Torleth, no, not Torleth, Stavrin look tiny.
Okay, I think that's it.
What would Torleth like to do?
Uh, well, he'll reserve his action, and then there's a bard thing that's encouraging strike or some such. He will use for anyone who is in hand-to-hand combat with the creature.
Gotcha. So one of his dailies.
Yes.
Yeah, technically he does that after a creature attacks. That's his reaction. So you don't even have to like hold off on that. You just kind of wait till somebody does it.
Okay. Other than that, I think he is going to advance on the ship.
Gotcha. And then Brannick, it'll be on you. What would you like to do?
Yeah, so Brannick's going to, hearing Starvin call out for light, is going to send his torch up, basically like kind of beside him. Can actually, it's black for me over the side, but kind of around that area, I guess. And kind of,
Yeah, if you move it up to there, you guys are going to see a lot more of the ship.
and then kind of still reeling from the board and not wanting to get hit like that again, he's going to, with his action, cast mirror image. And he will move towards the ship and similarly try to climb aboard with the rest of his movement if he can.
Gotcha. Yeah, just do a strength check there. Yeah, so that's going to, I think effectively at that point, it's going to cost you your action to get onto the ship. Otherwise, you're going to be off the ship here.
Yeah, I think he would. Well, yeah, mirror image was an action, so I think he's just stuck.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah. And then Stavrin is going to slash out at the creature again.
Yeah, it'll just kind of slam away that attack as he reaches out at it. Just barehanded, deflect it, and parried.
Yeah, and he's like letting out curses as he sees just how big this thing is. But other than that, that's his turn.
All right. Stavrin is actually going to have to make. Oh man, that's so weird. I think it's 3 Constitution saving throws. As he starts his turn, the ice that is emanating away from this creature starts to freeze his flesh, and he's going to have to make those saves to remain so close to it. So I think
Oh,
its
actually,
DC is pretty
sorry.
low.
I hit con instead of, I do have a +5 to my saving throw con, so add 5 to each of those.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I felt like his are next to impossible to fail. So it takes 3d6. So yeah, I think it's just a base 10. So he will take 1 wound. I think at this point you guys are level 4, so they are level 3. So he has 2 hit dice left, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure I can manually edit that.
Yeah,
So I'll
like
just
the
note it.
easiest thing is just the green above him. Just put a 2 there.
Good idea. Yep. Yeah, that's it for them.
And I think as you all actually light up this creature, you're going to see a little bit more closely that the I can't do it while I'm holding all. The ice around this creature is just emanating from its flesh, and anybody who's remotely close to it is going to suffer from this cold.
Okay, and you said that happened at the start of Stavron's turn, or at the start of the
Yep,
creature's turn?
it's the start of his turn.
Okay, so would he be able to essentially, like, he would be like warning the others, like, stay back, if he can?
Yeah, at this point on his turn, he is more than welcome to do that. But that's part of why I also reveal that there is between the light and him, it's a little bit more clear.
Okay. Okay, yep, that's it for them then.
So as the troll starts to raise its fist above to swing out, the torch on deck is going to go out. What were you thinking?
Never mind. I was gonna say Stavron's would try to shield if the creature attacks him, but I sort of started that too early.
Yeah, so I think it's going to go. Yeah, I think it's going to attack Stavrin. Uh, and I think it's going to bite down at him, and then with each claw, try to rake at him. So he's going to send 3 attacks its way. What was his thing for the first one? What were you thinking with the shield?
Just to cast shield as a reaction
Gotcha.
as he gets attacked.
Yeah, so what's his AC about to be? Is it like 23?
23. I have 18 plus 5. Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, I think I'm gonna need 16s to hit here. The bite's going to miss, and then the claws. Yeah, 25 on that 18 should be a hit.
Yep.
As the first claw is able to rake away his physical. I think he's got an actual shield too, right?
This actually,
Or is he like a double? I think he actually has the great sword, so he probably is two-handed fighter. So just like his bite down is just gonna sink into this magic, and as the second claw starts to rake down on this, what color do you think his magical shield is?
I would say kind of like a light, like reddish.
Gotcha. So as he like bites down right over the shoulder of Stavrin, you're going to see as this like reddish glow gets like a fierce, almost fire like glow to it right above his shoulder, keeping the troll from actually biting into his flesh. and it reaches forward with its left hand, trying to rake away at his chest and his arm with the greatsword. And you see that same glow as the 5 claw marks slide across his front chest, and it kind of lights up the troll for a moment before the final claw, with a moment, it just pierces through this red fire. And in that moment, it's going to tear across Stavrin, and it will do. It is going to do. Oh, yeah, shit. It's actually going to be 4 Constitution saving throws. I forgot that the damage doesn't matter. So it's 2d6 for the piercing, and then 2d8 for the cold as it rakes across him. So that'll be another wound, but he's otherwise still standing here. And that will take it to Velixis.
And you said he has like 2 health left.
All of your followers have hit dice, not hit points. So as long as you make a Constitution saving throw, they don't lose anything. Right now, Stavrin is at 1 hit dice of 3 hit dice.
Okay. I don't think Felix can get up there in one movement, and still attack, can she? Not with her strength, she can't anyway. I don't think.
You could probably make it just behind Torleth. The strength check is to see if you're able to make it. Using your action is to like force it, even though you fail a strength check.
Okay, because I wanted to see if I can go to like right. Uh, I probably can't do this, but like I want to see if I can climb up and get to like right here on this side of him.
You're not going to be able to climb up that side. It's going
Okay,
to take you 50 movement to climb up. Like just the climbing part of that backside of the ship, of the aft side, is going to be 50 movement. If you go where those white dots are, that's where it's like 5 feet, so it's 10 feet of climbing.
okay, I didn't think so. All right then.
So, like, I think where you were, you can basically move just south of Brannock, and then you can climb effectively just to the east of Brannock, and I think that's your full 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yep, it's 30 movement basically for you to stand up right behind Torleth.
Okay, that's where she's gonna move to, like right here. And I don't think I have enough line of sight to hit the creature with anything, so she's gonna go ahead and end her turn with that.
You don't have to finish your movement before you do something. So while you're like west of Brannock, you still have some level of sight on the creature.
Okay,
It's obscured, still in darkness, but
okay then yeah, she's gonna shoot a firebolt then.
gotcha. You can roll that attack. Roll the damage. Anytime damage doesn't show up, make sure to click that right away. So you watch as you like fling the firebolt over the deck into the silhouette of the creature, and you just hear as there's like a sizzle as it starts to reach closer and closer to this creature, until you hear like a kind of minor, almost like um, not necessarily a scream, but like a retch as it just starts to burn into this creature's flesh. And not Brannick, Stavrin and Torleth are going to smell just the stink of burning flesh and hair as this creature's burned by the fire.
Uh, I don't think I can do a bonus. Well, I don't know what if I can do a bonus action for anything else that would be effective right now. So yeah, I think if it goes to Florinda, she'll try to move. She's just gonna move up here to where we're at and start climbing the boat. But instead of going behind, she's gonna be like right in front.
Yeah, so you could do a strength check for her, but she can't actually get to safe ground. She can only kind of do the climbing.
All right, one second.
And it's going to go to Johan. What are you doing over there?
When Johann could see down into the lower parts of the ship, did he see anything that looked like bottles of rum or barrels? He's wondering if there's flammable, if he saw something that was potentially flammable.
From where you're at, I don't think you would have seen anything that looks like um, traditional storage. I think what you would have seen was snow. For the brief moment, things were lit up from Brannick's torch. After kind of spotting the little things that were glinting light, you would be able to recognize that there's things frozen into the ice below this hold. But that it's all treasure. It's not anything that remotely looks like the rum that you all are here for.
Okay. Is there anything, any small object nearby, like a chunk of ice or a belaying pin or something like that, that Johann could touch with the idea of casting light on it, that he could throw? That's like small enough that he could throw.
Make a perception at disadvantage. Taking a look around quickly, you're able to spot something. At this point, it's going to eat up your free action and your action to throw it. But you can make a dexterity. Oh, wait. I feel like it's going to eat up all of your action economy except for movement to pick this up and throw it and cast light on it.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
So make a dexterity check. And where are you trying to throw it to?
I'm trying to throw it at the feet of the creature.
Gotcha. Can I actually make a suggestion? I don't know. I like your idea. Never mind. There's no reason for me to do that. So yeah, you're able to toss it over there, and with little efforts, land it kind of right at the base of the actual troll itself.
And that was even my bonus action, so so no spiritual weapon.
Yeah, effectively, I gave you throwing it as the bonus action because you need the action to cast light.
Okay, so does not approach the creature, and instead will reserve his cheer facility for anyone who does attack the creature.
And then Brennick, you are now at the base. Oh, actually, my bad. Torleth does have to make 3 Constitution saving throws, and I don't think the Bard has a plus on that one. So it's effectively 3d20, all of them. Yeah. Oh, wait, he's got a +3 con. So you need 7s or higher on all 3. Yeah, so he'll lose 1 of his hit dice. So he'll be at 2. But again, that might give you the clue. Perhaps you want to move Torleth even farther than that away from the actual ice of this creature. Yeah, I can move that to the... Gotcha.
Yeah, and that torch is actually out, right?
Yeah, effectively, your mage hand is still holding it. It just got snuffed out by the actual ice of this troll.
Right. Okay.
But with that all set, it's going to go to Brannick, and then when you're done with your turn, Stavrin will have to make those same 3 saves as well.
Right. So Brannick is going to back up again to get try and get sight of this thing up on deck and fire a firebolt at it.
Gotcha. Roll that attack. Solid strike.
And yeah, with his bonus action, he's going to move the unlit torch back away a bit. I think, maybe at some point someone can relight it, but that's it for him. So you can make this Stavrin 3 again, you said, right?
Yep, 3 saves from him. So as you cast that firebolt, you'll hear that same like sizzle as it goes through the ice, and see as it slams into its flesh, as the flesh kind of like burns away and starts to expose some of the underlayers of this creature. And all those are successful, so I assume he's going to make some strikes.
Yep, Stavrin. He doesn't have multi-attack yet, I think. It's just 1, right?
That's correct. I don't think they'll ever actually get multi-attack. I think they open up extra once a day.
Got it. Okay. And then kind of again, sort of like it bats it away pretty effortlessly. He's going to try to back up.
Gotcha. So on that level, he can kind of expect a swipe here.
Yeah.
I feel like shield doesn't necessarily say you can't, like you can do it once it actually already strikes at you. But if you end up wanting to shield this turn, it lasts until your next turn anyways. But it is going to swipe out at you.
Yeah, I think knowing that he was going to back away, he would have... But knowing that he was backing away, I think he would have cast it, but...
That's what I mean. I feel like it's a reaction to something that looks like it's going to hit. I think a 13 is going to not look like it's going to hit. I think that's where he's wise enough to actually be... I feel like that's kind of what it is you're wise enough to watch this attack and see, like, I'm fast enough to get out of that thing's way and kind of step away from the attack.
Yeah, and I think mechanically it's you can essentially decide to use it if it was going to hit. So I think, but okay.
So as everyone kind of steps away from this creature, everybody who saw the light snuffed out last kind of few moments ago is going to notice the magical light is not snuffed out. And the troll is going to plunge both of its hands down into the deck of the ship and tear up the floorboards and wing one after another across the deck towards Johann. I think both of those are going to miss with a 12 and... Oh, wait, no, not a 12.
16.
With a 14 is the highest.
I guess he dodges.
And then it's going to go to Velixis.
All right, so Melissa is gonna go ahead and get on top of the deck, and she's going to
So do another strength check.
All right.
I feel like I didn't make Johan do the strength check. It's
When
too late
climbing
now.
up, I think he did.
Yeah.
I thought he did.
I
but
think
maybe
when you
not.
did it, it was for Torlith, though. I feel like I forgot with you.
I think you
Yeah,
had to do a
Alexis is able to
dexterity
make
check.
it. So, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's 10 movement, and you're going to have the same problem. As soon as you get to the top and you're looking to actually get onto the deck itself, there's nowhere for you to stand. There's just empty space that's kind of falling through this deck. You can see it's probably about 20 feet below you to the snow that has fallen into this deck. At this point, you can try to run along the decking to get to the stairs where Johan is, or you can try to run along, not the decking, run along the like banister to the south and get closer to the troll. What's Felixis doing?
She's actually gonna get closer to the troll.
Gotcha. So do a dexterity check. Yeah, so you can make your movement on top of the deck at normal pace. You, as well as everybody else, while it's lit up, can see that getting any closer. Well, you do have to move on, though. So I think you're 10 up, 15. It's 20 to get to where you are right there. If you move any closer to the troll, you're going to start walking into this ice that is whirling around it.
All right, and you know what? She's gonna do another firebolt right here.
As you sling that firebolt forward towards it, you see as it's consumed by the ice, and by the time it gets to the troll, the mote of fire has gone out, and it just kind of like falls to the ground and is lost in a wisp of the weave.
Um. Alrighty then.
Any more movement? Otherwise, it will go to Florinda.
Um. No, she's just Valexia's just gonna yell out to Florinda to be careful coming up where she's at because of how close she is to the troll from where she's going up. Um, and Florinda's just gonna move along the side a little bit and then come up like right by Alexis a little bit.
Gotcha. And with this at the top of the round, let's take a break here, and we'll come back in a few moments. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up. It's close enough. If you want to do it with that firebolt, you are more than welcome to. But at very least, I did want to bring it up so you had a better understanding of what I was expecting from it.
Yeah, I'd very much like to cheer on that firebolt.
Gotcha. So at this point, I mean, realistically, I would say either of you could roll it. But for how that's worded, I think it's in recognizing that, the bard has that one chance to roll something. So I would say that is very much worded as Torlith roll a d6. Yeah, so mark off, like, I don't know if there's actually a way that shows that it's 3 times a day and gives you a marker for it, but mark off that you've used one of those. It's not actually going to affect that enough that it's able to pull out a hit from it. So at this point, I want everybody to make a perception check.
Is that for our sidekicks as well?
No. Sidekicks are definitely meant to even out combats, not to give you guys like infinite checks.
Yeah, yeah, just checking.
So, Johan, from within the ship's hold, you actually hear this strange language yelled out, as it would seem to you, at very least, that there are creatures kind of running out of the ship at this point, and it sounds very much like a battle charge, even if you can't actually recognize what they are saying.
And are they moving?
Like you hear like the battle charge. You basically hear something in a language you don't understand that is like yelling.
And is the language the same language that I heard last night the kobolds using?
Make an intelligence check. It's hard to tell in the midst of battle to actually like put enough of your brain power into recognizing what this yell is.
Okay.
But it is effectively your turn, and what would Johan like to do?
Has Johann seen? I mean, how are these attacks affecting the creature? Is it looking, pretty bloodied up? And especially has he seen any kind of regeneration? Uh, any of those things?
At this point, the way the light worked out, you all would not actually notice any difference between attacks here.
Okay. Johann fires a guiding bolt at the troll.
Yeah. As far as like the meta knowledge goes of this thing regenerating, the only time it really regenerated was after it like snuffed out the light. You guys would not have seen it regenerate while it was lit from your stone or from your like piece of ice, and that was when it was hit by fire and not able to regenerate. Coming up on this turn, if Brannick doesn't get fire on it, that's where you all might actually start to recognize that the fire can prevent it.
Right. Okay. So, guiding bolt, and then bonus action attack with the spiritual weapon.
All right. When you go to do that, if you guiding bolt first, you're going to give advantage to the spiritual weapon. Is that what you're looking to do? Otherwise, you can attack with the spiritual weapon first.
Oh, I see. Yes. In that case, I want to attack with the spiritual weapon. I don't know if it's too meta, but I would prefer to attack with the spiritual weapon first.
Yeah, I would say that is perfectly acceptable for you to recognize that you can shine the light of, oh man, I forget the ocean god that you follow, the thunder god.
Valker.
But you, Valkyr, yeah, you can basically shine the light of Valkyr down for Brennick or for your spiritual weapon.
Uh, I mean, again, I don't know if it's meta, but I'd prefer it to be Brannick. No, you know what? I think it's valid because Brannick. I know that Brannick is sort of is likely to deliver more damage. So there's my spiritual weapon.
Solid strikes from the spiritual weapon. And the guiding bolt is just going to fly right past the creature as it's like swiping out that pass over towards Stavron. It's like ducked down, reaching out for him, and it just goes right over its shoulder and slams into the boat behind this creature.
How much inspiration do I have?
I've got you at a 5. So you can do 1 to 5 on that if you want to add.
I will add 4 to that.
Gotcha. Solid hit. That will strike into the creature's shoulder as it's reaching out for Stavrin. Yeah, you all will start to see the glow of this creature as lightning is kind of arcing around its body.
And I think that's it for me. Yep, that's it for me.
Did you have Torlith do anything?
Oh, Torlith will. Is anyone holding that torch that was snuffed out?
My mage hand is still holding it. I don't know if you can see the hand or just the torch. That it's. I don't know if it's actually visible or if it's like more spectral or whatever.
I would
Your
have.
hand's visible. It wouldn't take much to take it from the hand, though, either.
Yeah, Torlith would.
I lost you at Torlith Wood.
Like to grab the torch and light it.
Gotcha. So yeah, you can spark up the torch. Just do a strength check and contest it. Just roll a strength like at -5. Actually, realistically, it's just a straight strength from the mage hand to pull it away from the mage hand. But it's technically a contested. So you pull the hand with it. You're able to light the torch, but technically the mage hand is still holding onto it.
Oh, probably for the best.
You should just like grab the mage hand that's holding the torch and yeah.
And then that'll take it to Brennick.
Okay. Is Brennick able to get? So essentially, I'd like to get close enough that I can try to use Burning Hands, which is a 15-foot cone, kind of angled up towards the troll. But I don't know if how that distance would work exactly since he's down below.
At that point, you would basically have 5 foot eaten up by the actual ship. So it's more if you get within 10 feet, you can use the Burning Hands.
Yeah, so
yeah, I think that gets it just inside of it.
Okay, and as he's moving to do this, he gets like a vision in his mind's eye of like where the thing is going to try to dodge out of the way of it, and he's going to use Portent to give it a 4 dirty on its dexterity check or saving throw.
Gotcha. Dirty girl.
Not much, but
Torlith cheers.
Just
mechanically, that's a saving throw one.
That's correct. It does not eat up the advantage. Right. Oh, I gotcha.
Because I don't think, unless you're using it to subtract from his saving throw, I don't know how that works exactly.
No, he doesn't have that ability with that one. It's very particular. Like, it's almost the Lore Bard's ability, but it is still very different. Because once again, like, all of these are from actually MCDM Matt Colville. I really like his shit. It's like the only non-Wizards of the Coast shit that I actually like.
Okay, I just didn't want to have him wasted if he doesn't have to, unless that's too...
Yeah, my bad. I was definitely thinking when you said you cheer, you were cheering for the fire, not necessarily like using the cheer ability.
Oh, that might have been what you meant, Johan, or Larry. Sorry, I thought I just assumed you were...
Nope. I was indeed trying to use the ability. But
Yeah, so he used his portent to make sure that it fails. The ability that you have is for a d20 roll, where there's effectively no roll on that.
okay, I think I see.
Unless you wanted to make the troll have a chance to succeed, that's the only way you could use, and I'm pretty sure yours also says that it has to be an ally.
I do not want the troll to succeed.
Are you sure? Because this is
Positive.
your last chance for the troll to have a chance to succeed. But it is going to go to Stavrin at that point.
All right, so Stavrin's like shivering. He's not in great shape. He doesn't get too close, but he's going to, if he can, try and look around, see if there's anything that he can, like any loose boards or anything he can try and pick up and just throw at the troll. Maybe even just to, not so much to hurt it, but to distract it. I don't know if he can, like, essentially, if he mechanically try to use the help action by like trying to, throw things at it and distract it.
Oh, you could.
Or if there's
I
something
think
that
the
could
odd
like,
part about that is I think if you use the help action right now, it quite literally gets wasted because of the guiding bolt. But I
yeah,
don't think you know that.
yeah. I mean, if there was, I guess it depends on what's within reach. Like if there's something within reach that he thinks would actually hurt the thing, like I don't know, like a piece of board that's like sharp, but otherwise he would just be trying to, there's not much he can do, so just want to try and do something.
I'm already treating it as this boat is such a derelict that you can tear up like the floorboards with no problem. But in the long run, I think yes, you could do the help action. I think the other alternative is that you could do an improvised weapon. Um, Either of those are not terribly effective for what it really comes down to. But I definitely understand if you are trying to hold Stavrin back at this point, if he is trying to actually defend himself to survive.
Yeah. Maybe instead what I'll do is I'll hold an attack if it comes charging at him. That's probably better.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's it. That's it.
So from under the deck, you're going to see the first of these little kobolds running up with little ice daggers in his hand, and he's just going to leap on top of the troll and start to stab at it. And with this, Velixis will hear that same kind of battle cry, and these kobolds are running out, yelling the name um, for Arveiaturace. And it is going to strike out. Oh, shit. Yeah. It's going to do 8 piercing damage as it just dives onto this troll and just starts stabbing it with its little, like, 4-inch dagger.
Damn, that's an angry kobold.
And you're going to see as like the blood of this creature is starting to seep out of these wounds, and you're starting to see more and more of its coat is kind of coated in this like blue seeping blood, but all of the wounds from the fire are like staunched and they are immediately kind of cauterized. And at this point you all can start to notice that those wounds are also still open flesh. um, but that one's going to charge out. I think next it's going to come to the actual troll. Those wounds are not going to close. And at this point,
I'm sorry, which wounds are closing? The fire damage or the non-fire damage?
the fire damage are all the same open wounds. where you can see that like they are cauterized, so they're not like oozing blood. Anybody who takes the time to look close enough can see some of the other wounds on this troll have healed up. My point is, though, is like the knife wounds from the kobold, you guys are going to see the first signs that this troll is actually bloodied. But you also see the signs that every single one of these fire wounds is still like effectively already like a scarred wound. The troll is going to leap over the deck, and it's going to bite and then claw out at Brannick.
All right, Brannick's
So
gonna
it's a
shield.
disadvantage with mirror armor. With mirror,
No, so I have to roll to see if it
all right,
attacks.
which one it hits, or is it which one it attacks?
Which one it attacks, and then so essentially the duplicates have an AC of 15. Or no,
Gotcha.
sorry, not 15. No, 13. Sorry, it's 10 plus my dex, so 13. So that actually is going to attack the real me, even with 3 duplicates.
And is it all 3 of them, or is it for each attack?
Each time the creature targets you with an attack, so I think it's 3 separate. Although, I mean, I guess it. I'm not sure. However you
I
want to
would
rule
say
that, I'm
that's all
fine
3
with.
of them. So the bite's going to go on you.
Okay, so I will
and that should
shield.
hit.
Is my
Gotcha.
reaction.
It's still going to end up hitting you with a 26 to hit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My bad. It's actually only the 6 plus 4. So 10 slashing, 10 piercing damage as it bites down onto you. And then it's going to do 13 cold damage to you.
All right, and that's going to knock Brannick unconscious. He's going to go down.
With that, it's going to actually run over you and swipe at Florinda. First one will miss. The second one should hit. Florinda will have to make 4 Constitution saving throws. So that'll be 1 loss. That'll be 2 loss. Still 1 remaining. And the last one. And that will keep her standing. So it's actually going to go to Velixis. And with that, let's see. Yeah, Velixis would still be within the 10 foot. So Velixis, you are going to take 11 cold damage. And then when you get to Florinda, she'll have to make 3 more Constitution saving throws to remain standing.
And Torlith would notice as Brannick goes down that I assume my mage hand would dissipate.
Yeah, the hand clinging to the torch would actually dissipate. Although it's not concentration, does it really require your consciousness?
I guess not. I guess it's just cast and done. Yeah, I think my mirror images would fade because that is concentration.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, actually that's not either. That's weird.
Okay, so Felix's just gonna like she grunts in pain and then let's see here.
Oh wait, hold up a second. My bad.
Alright.
Yeah, it looks like the only time the spell ends is when all 3 duplicates are disappeared.
All right, so the real Brannick's down, but there's 3
So-
duplicates still standing.
So yeah, kind of X all of that out. Florinda is not in danger right there. Should still be at full wounds. And Velixis would not take the extra 11 damage. I think realistically it would then go back to that same thing where Brannick, I think you have to roll a d6 for the 1. That's not really important. And then a d6 for the actual hit, the 20.
Although now that I'm thinking about it, it says that they move with you. So when like if Brannick goes down, I guess would they kind of mirror that? Like they would knock essentially all 4 would get look like they were knocked unconscious. I'll just paste it on
Yeah,
there
that's
again.
kind of. Oh, I'm looking at the spell at this point.
Okay.
I've
mean,
never
again, I'm-
actually thought this deep into this spell.
I mean, again, I'm fine with however you want to play it.
I feel like it's probably best at very least to assume that spell is gone, with you going unconscious, and see if that's a problem outside of game in the future, and then go back to the idea that Velixis took 11, and Florinda took 2.
Yeah, that works for me.
I don't know if there's a simple solution to kind of figure that one out. Because I don't feel like there's too many spells that have any reason to exist after the fact. Part of why I think Mage Hand can is because it's a very simple spell. But even that, I think it probably makes more sense that it disappears when you go unconscious.
I mean, I feel like that where it would come in, like, is if the creature was still attacking, like after I go knocked unconscious, then it kept attacking me. Then I feel like maybe I could roll again to see if it actually swipes at one of the knockdown duplicates. But we can, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
really...
part of what I'm thinking is just that it would go after them if they were still standing, without recognizing that the one falling to the ground is actually you.
Yeah.
That in part, though, is also why I think it makes more sense to declare all of your attacks prior to the actual combat happening, so you can't react to stuff that happens like in that actual combat. All of the attacks are still going on that same target because it's your target.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's all happening within such a quick time. It's not like going, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a hard rule to really stick to, because it's so easy to be adaptable. But my bad for the aside there. For now, what would Velixis like to do?
I was actually trying to contemplate, look at something. Hold on, with her the ice knife, but I don't think because of how big the creature is, I don't think he'll take all the damage from the explosions. And I feel like that would actually hit the people around him still.
You could like spark it through him and behind.
Oh, well, then shoot. Yeah, I'll do that.
So like if you like attack kind of like his northern quadrant, like the northeastern, the ice knife would explode on the northwestern quadrant and it wouldn't affect anybody who's like there immediately. Make an intelligence check for me real quick though. All right. You want to cast Ice Knife?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Roll the damage. Creature. I feel like the Ice Knife itself does does damage as well, piercing. I think if you click on that pink Ice Knife there, it'll roll it.
Wait, did it cast it twice just now?
Oh yeah, it shows like the first time you cast it, it showed piercing damage and cold damage. It looks like. Or maybe after you hit the the pink.
You know what? I think happened. I think it because I did it on the under the Beyond, and I think after that it didn't send it out immediately. But when I clicked the pink, it came through all of it at the same time.
Yeah, by the time it's like pink on roll 20, it recognizes everything effectively like on roll 20 side.
Okay, well,
So as the shard of ice explodes behind the troll, it's able to dodge out of the way of the initial attack. And as it explodes behind it, you watch as the ice just kind of gets swept up into the wind of ice that's kind of like the little cloud around this creature. You're reasonably sure that ice had no effect on this troll.
all right. Well, shoot.
So you know you're in danger right now where the cold is, that you have movement, and then do you have a bonus action at all?
All right. Velis is gonna let's see. She's gonna move to like right.
Yeah, you need to either go for the stairs or you need to move like towards the center of the deck.
That's where she's gonna move to.
You need three more saving throws for Florinda, and then what would Florinda like to do as this troll is running up behind her? One more to stay in the game. Oh, that's going to be unconscious for Florinda.
She takes a nap.
So from within the ship, you all hear more of the yells for Arveiaturace, and you see as these creatures run up past their friend, and each of them leap off of the deck of the ship, and they're all going to start to clamber onto the back of this troll as they're stabbing at it and using their daggers, almost like climbing picks, just keeping both a hold of the troll itself and also stabbing at it with their knives. Yeah, so like two of the kobolds are able to remain on top of it as they're stabbing into it with their daggers. The other falls from the creature, and it's going to go to Johann.
For my action, I cast Aid on Brannick, Felixis, and Florinda. And for my bonus action,
So at this point, I think
Oh.
you probably have to jump off of the deck to get an eye on Florinda. You could do a
okay,
dexterity check
yeah,
to
I'll do
try to
that
balance
if I can.
yourself on the rail.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to balance on the rail. What the heck?
Yeah, because that's the thing. You guys already used it for like total cover, being next to the deck. It's got to work both ways. So yeah, you can basically move down and to the left, and you are effectively right now like balanced to gain a view of those three creatures. But you can cast Aid that will bring Florinda up to 1 hit die, and it will bring Brannick up to 5 hit points. And then Brannick and Velixis, you can add 5 to your hit point maximum. Please make sure do not use override max hit points. Never use override max hit points. And then what would you like to do as a bonus? My bad. Technically,
Yeah,
your spiritual weapon is right below one of my kobolds.
yeah, but that is what the bonus action should be.
Gotcha. Swipe out at it, dealing a little bit of damage to it. This thing is pretty well bloodied at this point as the blue ooze is seeping out of this creature. So, Brannick, you're going to take 3d6 damage here.
I'm pretty sure it's going to knock me out again unless you roll really, really low.
Yep, it's going to drop you right back to unconscious. What would you like to do with Stavron?
So Stavron, he wouldn't have seen Brannick go down, but seeing the troll kind of jumping off and knowing he was there, he would try to move over. Can he move? I can never remember if we can move through a friendly space.
You can definitely move through friendlies, and in the case of the friendlies that are in your way, they are small creatures anyways, so they don't even bother you.
Okay. I don't want to lose both characters, but I feel like Stavron is, given he's here to sort of protect and keep an eye on Brannick, he's going to come and seeing the kobolds like launching off. I feel like he's got the same idea. Like he wants to try and launch himself off the ship and like at the troll and like slashing at him with a sword as he's jumping off the deck. If he can do that.
I
From
know it's
above.
I know it's late, but Torleth would have the same, okay, over the top, everybody.
Oh, my bad. I forgot to ask with Torleth. Are you ready to get Torleth in the game?
I would pretty much duplicate exactly what Justin said. Like seeing these kobolds doing that action, he would charge, launch himself over the side of the side of the ship and wipe away.
Yeah, my bad. I completely forgot Torleth hadn't gone yet.
All right, so here's going to be the weird part of what's going on here. Torleth, I think you can probably spot that between Brennick and basically stacked on top of your spiritual weapon is a level of the troll that you could jump to, that you're not specifically going to share a space with a creature. If you do not land the attack, you're going to take damage from sharing the space with the kobold below you. Because I think at this point, everybody is actually limited how far you can move to basically just getting to that eastern side of the troll. And I think 1, 2, and I think Stavrin can like make it to this side. I think that's the way that you all can actually execute this how you're hoping to. But effectively, again, if Torleth misses this, he's going to fall and take damage from sharing the space.
Sure.
So make the, I think it's a rapier attack with Torleth, and then you can do that attack with Stavrin as well. Oh, again, they've got character stats. I don't know what his plus is, but if you look on your character stat for Torleth, he has an actual rapier attack that would normally do it. But otherwise, just tell me what the modifier is to that 11.
+6.
Gotcha.
7.
So that'll hit. So you can roll the damage. But like if you roll his signature attack in the future, that should do everything, just like Stavrin showed up below you. Stavrin as well is going to hit this.
So his damage is the D8 plus.
I lost you at the plus.
3.
So let's see. Okay, this is why stuff like this, it's easier to just let the troll's ice do it at the start of his turn instead of at the start of their turn. How many hit points does a kobold have? Enough to weather that storm. Barely. So 5. That's the one who's not even inside of it. Yeah, so he's going to rush up and start to stab into the troll with a hit. We'll do 3 damage. At this point, the troll is looking incredibly injured. And you all are just hearing cries for Arveiaturace here. Oops. Skip the troll. Somebody had advantage, and I don't know who it was. Roll another D1. Ooh, the spiritual weapon, I think, would have ate it up. But I think it would have gone by your turn. Does it last to your turn? Yeah, I feel like a kobold used it up, honestly. Ice knife. Ice knife would have done it. I think that would have been a hit for the 8 damage. Yep, I think that's the variable. So the ice knife would have had advantage. That would have been a hit. It would have done the 8 damage instead of missing. It's still immune to the actual piercing. The troll itself is incredibly weakened. Nobody did fire damage. You all see as all of its wounds that are from like the blades and the other things are starting to heal up, and it gets a little bit stronger. Now, there's 6 of you, 4 kobolds. I don't think. Yeah. So it's going to wipe out. It's going to try to bite down into. I forget her name. Florinda. That should hit. So, Florinda, you'll need to make 3 Constitution saving throws to stay standing.
I think Florinda actually went down, right? Last
The aid,
round.
though, brought her back up.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot
he
because
made the
Brannick went down
3
immediately again.
Yeah, and that's where their survivability comes in, is that those Constitution saving throws, they always have a chance of making them, so no amount of damage is ever too much. Whereas you could also do, 3d4 and they're down. So yeah, that's going to drop Florinda down. The next attack is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be against Torleth. So a claw against Torleth, 9 will miss, and he's going to go again against Torleth, and that will hit. And I need 4 Constitution saving throws from Torleth, and I believe you have 2 wounds left.
Yes, on the 2 wounds.
And then after that, it's going to go to Velixis.
Okay,
So those, you'll make 3 of them, and that will you'll be up at 1 wound left on Torleth. Go ahead, Velixis.
Okay, so Velixis is gonna go back to like the edge of the boat, and she's gonna fire a magic. Nah, she's not gonna use magic missile. She's gonna fire another fireball at the creature from above, from atop the deck.
It's going to like fly over the creature's head, and the ice is just going to freeze it and dissipate the power of the fire from the weave.
Torleth, Torleth tries to cheer that fire bolt in.
Go for it. At this point, you all should have a solid idea that it is an AC 16. You need to roll a 2.
What's the dice I roll?
1d6. It's on Torleth. You can look at your character sheet with him. That is a hit. So roll the fire damage for that firebolt. 10 damage. You're going to see is there's just a large hole in this creature's chest as the fire just like stings into it and sears and cauterizes the wound.
All right. After that, she's not gonna do much else.
Make a death saving throw for Florinda. Just roll a d20. You all watch as 3 of the remaining kobolds are all frozen in place. 2 of them on top of the troll, 1 of them falling to the ground as it shatters on the ground into 100 pieces. Johan, what would you like to do?
Can Torleth move before Johan?
Nope, Torleth goes immediately after you.
Okay. Johan casts guiding bolt.
At one of the kobolds?
Oh no, at the deer troll.
So, describe to me how you kill the troll.
The guiding bolt flies out, streaks past one of the kobolds,
We lost you. It streaks past one of the kobolds.
Oh, streaks past the kobold and into the wound caused by that valiant kobold's frozen dagger, and hits the troll.
So with that, it's gonna go to Valdis and Torleth. What did you want to do with Torleth?
I wanted to drag Brannick in particular. I mean, anyone who's down on the ground, but Brannick, I wanted to drag him free of the cold effect of the troll.
Gotcha. And then Brannick, make a death saving throw. So while you're dragging him out of the area and Johann is able to destroy the troll, you all will see the dissipation of this ice aura around it as the little blades of ice start to sink down to the ground like sharp little snowflakes. You will watch as Brannick coughs up a little bit of blood, and as you all are in this immediate aftermath, you have two unconscious friends and a couple of kobolds who are frozen blocks of ice. What would everybody like to do?
Is there one kobold still up?
There is indeed.
So Stavrin is going to rush over towards kind of essentially trying to help Torlith if he can, and maybe like slashing at the dead troll as he goes by, like angrily, but and then like looking back towards Johann is like help him if you can.
So are you saying that Stavrin is sheathing his sword inside of the dead troll?
Yeah, I like that idea. Like he's like going past and he just like kind of like slams it down like in the gaping wound, like, one of the gaping wounds from like the or like the cauterized wounds from one of the fire bolts or something. Just
Just to make sure, let's just like right down the troll's throat and stake its body up on my greatsword.
it's like twisting the blade as he goes, like just angrily, and then yeah.
I don't know if we're still in initiative order.
It matters on some level because right now Brannick is still dying. Brannick and Velixis are definitely still dying at this point. So I think at this point, you're going to watch as one of the kobolds kind of looks over for Velixis and kind of comments, "That was crazy. Thanks for your help, friend." And then he'll kind of like look over the others and start to like climb back onto the ship. Doesn't even give all of the dead any like of a second look, and just starts climbing back aboard.
Wait, so Felixis is down, not Florinda?
Nope. The kobold is talking to you. Doesn't give a fuck about Brannick or Velixis being dead, nor the other kobolds. It's just ignoring their existence basically as it's going back onto the ship, but it's speaking to you.
Yeah, Rashad. Yeah, I think he meant Florinda being down. Yeah, not Felixis.
Yeah, I might have just confused that. I said Florinda in my mind at least. We just had Brannick do his death saving throw, and it's going to go to Velixis to do a death saving throw.
I just roll a d20, right?
Yep. Yeah, so that will be a second failed, as Florinda, coughing up blood as well, does not seem to be faring well. What is Velixis doing?
And she goes over to her friend and just holds her in her arms, because she's not sure she'd be able to help her if her friend is going to survive.
Gotcha. So you're just trying to like comfort Florinda at that point?
Pretty much.
Gotcha. Johan, what's going through your mind?
Johan scrambles scrambles to the ground and rushes to Florinda and casts Cure Wounds on her. Yeah.
Yep, there's no roll for it. It's just one hit die. And then what is Torlith?
Can Torlith help stabilize Brannick?
Can do a medicine check. So with him out of the ice, Torlith is able to kind of apply some pressure on some of the bleeding and seems to be able to stabilize Brennick. Justin already knows. So while you all are cleaning up the traces of this, the kobold is kind of marching back down into the lower levels of the ship. What does everybody have in mind?
Well, Johan is definitely going to move to Brannick and cast Cure Wounds on him as well. Torlith scrambles back up onto the ship and looks around confusedly, sort of having expected to see the kobold. Maybe he goes to the head of the stairs and kind of peers down with the torch.
And Stavrin is like helping, as you know, thanks Johan, yeah, for the assistance, and he kind of helps Brannick to his feet. And he might like call out. He doesn't know where. Wasn't really paying attention to where the kobold went, but he might call out like, any other danger aboard. Like he doesn't want to. Doesn't think so, but he's just like calling out and trying to like kind of keeping close to Brannick and kind of maybe moving towards the deck, but not climbing up yet.
Melissa's just she leans her friend against the side of the ship so she can rest, and climbs up on top with them. And in Cobalt and Draconic, she does call out to them to see if they're still there.
So yeah, Torlith is probably not going to see the actual kobold. I don't think it would be impossible for you to take some time to maybe see footprints walking back down the stairs. But I think it would be ahead of you on most of that kind of idea. But as far as yelling down in Draconic, you will hear from within the creature kind of yelling back up. Um, I think effectively it's probably just yelling out, thanks for your help, but you can go now. I'm sure Arveiaturace will be back soon enough. We protected her treasure. It was good. You can go. Take your lives. Leave this place.
Poor Lithmos the word treasure to Alexis.
Technically, that's still in Draconic, but it doesn't mean that Alexis can't translate that to you all.
Yeah, she does translate back to them what was said.
So Brannick might he's gonna try to get back aboard after he gets up. Um to speak to going to Vlixis, since Vlixis is kind of translating for them. It's like, maybe we can buy the bottles.
If you're trying to buy the bottles from them, that might be the treasure that they're guarding, but there's no way to tell for sure unless we actually go look. Or I could ask. She does. Felix does yell down and kind of ask if the treasure is bottles of alcohol, or if there is any. Well, she actually just asked if there's bottles of alcohol down there, but she doesn't necessarily say treasure.
I think you might just get a response. There's nothing for you to worry about down here. If there's bottles, they belong to our Lord Dragon Queen.
Okay, so Felix is now curious about that. So she asks who the Dragon Queen is.
I mean, you've already heard Arveiaturace a few times. This is just another way of saying.
Oh, okay, then you know, can she ask for more details in regards to the Dragon Queen? Like, guess how long has she been away from the area, or if if they know if she'll be back for sure?
She always comes back whenever she wants. She checks on her treasure regularly. Don't even think about it.
Johann picks up his lit piece of ice and shines it back into the hold, and he's looking at those glints that he saw below and trying to see if in fact they look like gems or bottles, or the glass bottles or what. But he's trying to, as a matter of fact, he'll even throw the gem down there, or the gem down there, the shard of light, the shard of ice that's lit. If necessary, he'll throw it down into the hold.
Pick one. Are you holding it or are you throwing it down?
Initially, he's holding it, trying to
Pick one. Are you throwing it down or are you holding it?
holding it.
So the treasure below you there's frozen treasure in the ground below you. It is a treasure hoard. There is a dragon's treasure hoard frozen into the hull of this ship, and you are looking at it from above.
More than rum, he whispers into his friends.
So Brannick is going to like speaking to Blixus like uh tell the tell this kobold that um we helped defeat this troll and protected the treasure as well. So at least a little bit of it should be ours by right. We don't want much, just just something for our troubles.
I can see. I can ask and see what they think, or um, let let me see. They may be willing to part since we did help. So she does speak back to them in Dracona. She asks, since we did help defend the treasure that's here, if they are allowed to at least take some of the wine or bottles of ale that may be available.
You're gonna get the same response as before. If you all leave now, Arveiaturace will give you your lives for defending her horde. If you stay, she's gonna kill you. You have no right to her horde.
Johann he has silk rope in his backpack. He kind of hastily pulls it out and starts tying one end to the the
I think you cut out again there.
Johann is tying the rope to a stanchion and looking down into the hold gate, and is clearly like and gestures to the others, come this way, come this way.
So Brannick is kind of if it truly does belong to a dragon, perhaps we shouldn't press our luck. I'm greedy, but I'm not that greedy.
Johann pauses and looks at Felixus.
It doesn't look like they're willing to part with any of the treasure. We may be best off just leaving it be. We might be able to get it at another time, or if we wait for the dragon to arrive and then leave, we can snatch it after the dragon has left. But there's no telling when exactly the dragon may return.
Johann pauses and he doesn't throw the rope down. I could cast a shatter spell, loosen the gems, and we could be on our way in 5 minutes.
Really, she just kind of thinks back to when you cast the shatter spell and everything collapsed on top of us, and she's like, nah. Nah. No.
Does would Brannick recall? Would he have studied anything about dragons and their hordes? Would he recall anything um, in particular about them that might uh, either I don't know, like warn them off?
You could do a history or an arcana, but I still don't know what you're really asking about.
Well, like out of game, um, like sometimes there's like the idea that like dragons have like some special connection to their horde that they can like sense if things go missing from it, even if they're not actually there. But I don't know if
Gotcha.
that's something that Brannick would know, or I don't even know if that's like a mechanic or that's something I just am thinking from something else. But that's it. I didn't want. I was trying to describe it without like actually saying it specifically, but that's kind of the idea that I. If that's this anything that he would have studied or suspect or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think you have a particular like dragon background, do you?
No, and no.
Yeah, so I think that's something that perhaps vaguely Brannick has heard of, where dragons do have like prized possessions. It's usually not their hoard so much as parts of their hoard. But you wouldn't necessarily know enough to try to figure out. You all have a vague understanding who Arveiaturace is, but that doesn't necessarily give you enough information to pick and choose what Arveiaturace in particular might care for. So you basically know just enough information to know that taking treasure might be trouble because it could be something that seems mundane. It could be something that is like the prized possession. But you don't necessarily have enough information to know which of those it might be in the end.
Okay.
Johann actually, as he's tying the knots, he kind of sags with fatigue, and he realizes, and he turns to them and he says, "I'm afraid I've realized I'm too fatigued to cast the shatter spell. We'd have to dig it out, a gem at a time." Perhaps this is not. eh, Perhaps Valkyr has not smiled on us this day. And he kind of he unties the end of the rope, although he is kind of looking with hopeful eyes to he's perfectly willing to be talked into staying and uh taking the taking treasure.
Well, Brannick's he's still a little skittish after his brush with death, and like Stavron would be like yelling at him, like, you already nearly died once. You want a dragon breathing down your back, and Brannick's gonna um kind of again sort of say like, I'm much as I'd like it, it might be more trouble than it's worth for now, but no telling what that dragon might hold dear. We take the wrong thing.
Not even the rum.
Not even the rum, unfortunately. We can look around and maybe see if there's rum elsewhere on the ship that isn't buried beneath or in the surrounding area. But if we try to take from the horde, it might prove fatal.
So putting the rope back in his backpack, Johann hangs his head, and I've caused enough trouble these past days. I won't argue the point.
So at present, everybody is essentially holding on deck. You are not going inside, neither the stairs nor jumping down into the hold. Are you all preparing to leave the Duchess behind?
I think Brannick reluctantly is gonna start moving to climb back down. Uh, might take a look at the dead frozen kobolds, just see if there's anything, if they were carrying anything useful, but more not really affecting much, just more out of kind of like um, the horde's off limits, so he's like frustrated, but again he's like doesn't want to tussle with a you know adult dragon or
Gotcha. Make an investigation. You can collect 15 silver pieces and 3 javelins from the kobolds.
all right. Doesn't have much use for the javelins, but might see if that's anything anybody else needs.
Torlith, happily takes the javelins. Meanwhile, he's kind of slapped the shoulder of Johann and, in a very cheery voice, "What a battle that was, eh?" And starts to try to cheer everyone up, and uh, immediately starts sort of casting the battle into trying to come up with rhymes and songs and catch the details of everything they've seen.
Well, I suppose if it is her horn, perhaps we'll be able to come back for it sometime. But I think for now, probably best to leave well enough alone. And we still do have the uh, whale oil, even if we won't be able to make quite as much profit as we might have hoped. But I suppose there might be a reason this hasn't been wreck hasn't been touched by anyone, looted by anyone else either.
Johann looks around. It's dark. Um, well, still, he looks around. He tries to see if there's any kind of vantage point, within a mile or two, any hills or ice mounds or something where they might be able to watch the ship while they rest.
Roll a perception to disadvantage. Pretty much along where you're at here. The coast is pretty much flat. There's a valley pretty well south of you, where on some level you have the understanding that maybe the Shenanigans River at one point was connected to the Sea of Moving Ice, at least along one of its branches. Um, I never actually thought about whether that was a tributary or if that was a start of the river. But kind of looking around, you're pretty much at this point at a loss for what you could do that from. And then to imagine the actual advantage of a dragon flying through the sky, pretty much anywhere where you looked to kind of stop, you might notice you're going to be out in the open to this creature as well. So digging underground might be an option. Most of the coast is much more like solid pack old snow, but it doesn't mean you couldn't find a vantage. You're just not going to get like an overlook vantage without going like miles off.
Well, I suppose before we rest, we should put some distance between us and this boat. Um, and before we rest, I can perhaps cure some more wounds of those who are needed. But yeah, Johann, kind of shrugs his backpack on and um, you know, uh, looks looks back the way they came and gets ready to go.
And Stavron goes back over to the troll corpse, and like he has a little bit, he kind of stabbed it in his blade in so deep he has a little bit of trouble kind of getting it back out, but eventually manages to get it free. And Brannick is suggesting maybe they kind of try and go back, meet back up with Helka, and then maybe try and find a place to try and camp for the night.
So do you all want to like camp on the coast here? Are you trying to put some distance between yourselves before you make camp? Are you trying to go inland and make camp? What are you thinking as far as like those kind of three ideas mesh here?
I'd say we should probably put some distance between us and the ship if we're afraid of a cranky dragon returning. Um, but then I feel like we should head back along the coast to try to get to Enga's cabin. I don't feel any need to go inland.
Yeah, I agree with that. Getting a little bit of distance would definitely be safe. 'Cause if this thing returns and decides it's going to shoot first, ask questions later, I don't want to be around for that.
Yeah, I think we can kind of similarly, yeah, put some, get away from the ship a bit, but no real need to go back inland. And then if we think we can, yeah, if we think we can make it back to the cabin, um, I forget exactly how many hours it was between there and the Dark Duchess, but if we think we can kind of make it back there before it's too late, that sounds like a decent idea.
I would say you're probably on the level. You all could make it to the cabin in this night. You would be exhausted by the time you make it there, but you would have a shelter to sleep in versus trying to just get away from the Dark Duchess and back to the like land of the coast. You could take shelter when it's a little bit more properly night. But I think at this point, I did not keep a good track of time with the travel last time. So I had just wrote that you all had 9 hours of travel from Bremen to Enga's cabin. So I feel like you guys are like 14 hours into your day when you got to the Dark Duchess. I would say at this point, you guys are like 16 to 18 hours into a day right now.
Okay, in that case, yeah, probably. I don't think. Not sure. There's really much reason to push all the way back to the cabin.
Yeah, I agree. I'd just as soon camp out.
It's going to take us a little time to maybe try and build another, like a little igloo or windbreak kind of thing. So maybe just get back to the kind of the coastline and find a, you know, some sort of spot and maybe try and at least get a little protection from the wind. And
Yeah, but Willis agrees. She doesn't want to try to build anything. She just wants to get a good bit of distance away for right now and see what they can do afterwards.
So give me the consensus. Are you all trying to just get to the shore and start building as soon as you get onto shore?
yeah, I think that's what we decided, right, guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I think it is on Johan for survival, and Helka can give you advantage on kind of creating a hut for the group or starting the hut process. Gotcha. So you all can bang out a nice little, if you want to do another igloo, you can rock out another igloo in probably about an hour's time. If you all do something a little bit more like just kind of digging, almost like kind of like a coffin space where it's just like a little bed in the snow that you like throw a tarpaulin over and then throw snow over that. You guys can do that in a little bit less time. What kind of shelter are you going for? But the snow seems like a perfect kind of cutting snow.
Yeah, it made me feel like it's been such a long day that Brannick he's fine with just kind of doing the minimum, not building a whole igloo, just kind of building some kind of essentially enough to burrow in.
Yeah, shipmates. No need to attract attention with an igloo, perhaps.
Gotcha. So between the insulation of the snow, waterproof of your skins, of the like elk skins, you all are not comfortably warm, but it does cut the wind out and it does give you these little heated spaces with a little bit of an air hole to kind of breathe from. You all can prevent most of the melting that would like drip water back on yourselves and are able to kind of do a little bit of resting. As you all prepare to go to bed, are you all going to jump straight for trying to sit in for the night? And are you leaving anybody on watch?
So Brannick definitely thinks keeping a watch is always a good idea, and he can offer to take the he'll offer to take the first one. And he's also, when he went down, the his ice sculpture face broke, and he's been trying to kind of get it to like piece it back together and have it like freeze back in place, but it's not gonna obviously not gonna work. But he's kind of disappointed that it broke on him.
Would you be needing any healing before I start uh, uh, hitting the sack?
Yeah. Might be best to keep a little in reserve just in case we need it. I'll Brannick doesn't look great, but I'll manage.
Uh, okay, so Johan nods and it says, "Wake me for the second watch." Then
All right. Well, whichever. Well, whenever it's my turn to do watch, y'all wake me up. I'm gonna go ahead and lay down and sleep.
And I think Brannick would risk he'll kind of have his mage hand hold a torch so he has a little bit of light as he's keeping watch.
Gotcha. That was one of my questions is are you going to watch from outside of this little bed or are you just trying to stay aware in the bed?
Yeah, I feel like he would be kind of while he's on watch, yeah, he would be out of it a bit. Yeah. trying to get a little bit of a better vantage point than he would have if he was still inside.
All right. I actually need to take another quick break here to run to the restroom. So I will be back in a few moments. I'd say let's just take a normal break. So if you all need 15, we'll come back at 6:20. But same idea. When everybody's back, we can get started once everybody's back.
Sure, sounds good.
I thought somebody was getting murdered on Discord, and then I realized it's just kids playing outside my house.
I'm back.
I'm back.
Was that Rashad getting back?
Yeah, I'm back now. It's cold as shit.
Alrighty, so everybody is back. Would you all like to place yourselves in a rough estimation of where you are sleeping? And assuming that effectively each of you is on watch with your retinue, you can also set up your allies on the board as well. So with that idea, I would say Brannick and Stavron are basically between Velixis and Johan for a night's rest.
Yeah, I think essentially like that's their sleeping areas in between them, and then they're out a little bit. They're like just outside while they're keeping watch.
Gotcha. And you are rocking out a torch.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, I was just about to drag one in, but you beat me to it.
So you all are in a waning moon right now. So it's probably actually the 9th. You all are approaching the full moon a few days away. So there's probably about a half moon. This is one of those occasions where you basically have roughly the same amount of light at nighttime as you do during the day. Instead of the light being a cold white light of the moon's reflection, um, or rather, instead of having like the auroras changing colors, you have like the cold white light of the reflecting moon. But when you are prepared to go on watch, let me get a perception from you. think we've got Brannick on watch right now.
Yep, he's taking the first watch.
So the snows and the actual wind is definitely rougher as you kind of like go to bed down. This is one of the kind of failure points of trying to rest as you lose that heat of movement, and it becomes a little bit more difficult to sit still as you really just have time to spend thinking about your bones freezing. But overall, you don't feel any extreme danger. There's nothing that really seems to happen. And eventually things kind of pass by. Let me get a second watch from you. Brannick, let me have you roll for initiative. So as your attention kind of waxes a little bit, your mind is kind of flying through all of those kind of images of the dragon you've seen, going close to this land where you've crossed, or this ship where you've once again crossed paths with this dragon that, for all intents and purposes, you really should want nothing of. And it just is a very unsettling sleep. Your mind kind of recognizes that you shouldn't be kind of in this level of relaxation, and you start to hear the actual beats of this dragon's wings over your head. And by the time you are coming to, it is going to be just a little bit too late. And what is going to happen is you are about to lose a surprise round to two creatures that are going to attack from above. And in the process of this attack, you and Stavron will not have reactions on the first round of combat here. And what you are going to kind of wake up to is these large deer-like antlers and faces of behind beating wings that are massive and bird-like. Oh wait, I don't think it's actually a large creature. And they seem to be like swooped down on top of the two of you, who are kind of outside of these little cocoons that you all have created. They appear to have kind of spotted you in the night, and they are about to swoop down on the two of you. And I would like everybody who is sleeping to make a perception check here. Can you make a perception with Felixis, please?
I thought I thought I clicked at the roll. Hold on.
If it just rolled in D&D Beyond, what's the roll?
There it is.
Gotcha. So the two of you who are sleeping are going to wake up in the long run. Basically, y'all are going to be surprised, but everybody will be already awakened. By the time Brannick kind of wakes up to what's occurring here, you're going to see as these things are diving down into Stavron, and each of them seems to be trying to both bite into him and then rake at him with claws. Everybody is going to hear a horrendous cry as these creatures seem to be wailing like a mother tormented after losing a child. It is a horrendous, ear piercing cacophony of sound that just retches at you. And they're going to swoop down. So realistically, I'm just going to do these in pairs. So the first gore attacks from each of them. So let's see, +5. He has no reaction again, so you don't have a chance to shield this. But that is going to be basically 3 saves with that initial. Oh, that's why I should do this different. Do 2 saves with him right now. He was at 1 before, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's going to go unconscious with that one. And the creature is going to try to drag him away with the remainder of its movement. It is going to start picking up Stavron and trying to fly away with him. The second one, seeing that happen, I think it's going to actually follow through. And I think this might actually be a short encounter. Bite into him and then claw at him. Yeah, I think, Brannick, you are going to wake up to blood and gore. As you hear these sounds, you are going to wake up to these creatures flying away from you already and basically seeing the last bits of light across their bodies as they are like shredding Stavron, flying off into the night. So this is where the other 4 of you will be waking up. Give me initiative at disadvantage from Velixis and Johan. So 9 for. Wait. Does Johan have the same, a +3 to initiative?
No, Johan's +1 to initiative.
Gotcha. So a 7 from Johan.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
Brannick, you're basically like coming to as you're watching them like shredding Stavros's body and basically fighting over him. This is very much one of those scenes where like lions on the savannah are fighting over the body of a fresh kill. Or I guess really it's maybe more like wolves.
Okay. Yeah, so Brannick is kind of jolted out of his kind of fell asleep without realizing it, and kind of seeing the blood at first, he's confused, and then he seeing these creatures like and hearing them like tearing at Stavrin is I feel like his first initial reaction is would he actually attack them as they're flying off? Yeah, I feel like he would. Um yeah, he's going to cast hoping against hope that he might not be dead. He's going to burn his last spell slot and cast magic missile at the one nearest him, so to the left of Stavrin.
Gotcha. So you'll see as the missiles all pierce into the creature at the same time, just ding, 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 slamming into it. It's still flying without a problem, and basically still kind of heading off in the opposite direction of you. Any bonus action or movement?
So he's probably not realizing the others are awake. He's probably shouting for them to wake up. But I don't think there's really anything else he can do.
Gotcha. Roll a perception check for me at disadvantage. Word. And Valixis, as you are coming to, you hear these horrendous screams as if a woman is being like murdered inside of camp. What is Valixis's thought here?
She mean he she immediately looks towards where the screams are coming from and kind of rushes over. And I guess that when she rushes over, as she gets in the view and sees what's happening, she lets loose a firebolt at one of the enemies.
Gotcha. So you're prone right now, sleeping. It'll take half your movement to get up, so you can move a total of 15 feet, basically kind of south and east of you. It's just enough area where, yeah, with your night vision, you're able to see those creatures pretty clearly. They are massive deer-like heads that are like sprouting from these eagle-like bodies. And as you look out, you're watching one of these creatures just like tearing into the chest of Stavrin and pull his heart out. So roll that attack. My bad if it wasn't clear before, Justin. I just killed Stavrin. Solid strike on it. Roll the damage. You see like a solid chunk of like feathers are burnt from its flight wings, but it's still maintaining flight. And what is Florinda doing?
I don't think she has any kind of range weapon, does she?
Probably not.
Okay, then yeah, she just runs over and joins the rest of the group because she's not sure what's going on either, since she's also just now waking up.
So that one's just kind of flying off into the air, carrying like parts basically of Stavrin's body at that point. Johann, waking up to these screams, you're hearing like the casting of spells all around you as you come to. What are you doing?
Is but one of the creatures that I mean, he kind of bursts out of the cocoon and looks around trying to understand what's going on. If he does perceive the creature, um, he would cast guiding bolt at it.
It's essentially the one closest to you. Both of them have chunks of Stavrin in their claws.
Okay. Yeah, he would attack it.
So as the bolt flies out from your hand, you see as this creature does like a corkscrew, almost like dropping part of this body that it's holding in its claws, flying like up and over your bolt before flying down and catching the body before it rotates back around to where the antlers in this creature are above the corpse, and it's still flying. Any bonus? Otherwise, it will go to Torlith.
No bonus. Um, Torlith throws a javelin at it.
You can make that attack. Yeah, so in that bit of aerial acrobatics, the javelin itself flies past the creature as well. And in the next few moments, you're going to see this creature flying just as high as the other and off into the distance, as these creatures are just going to fly off into the night. Let me have Brannick make a history, arcana, or animal handling, and either of the other two you can do the same, but yours will be at disadvantage.
Wait, we do all three?
Nope, you're picking one of those. You just get different information whatever you do. So as you all are hopped up on adrenaline right here, you're all going to kind of recognize these creatures as a unnatural creation of wizards generations past. These creatures are not necessarily something that ever would have existed if it weren't for some of the most like vile parts of the weave being tapped into. Um, I believe it would be enough to recognize that these are commonly called peritons. They are, in general, female creatures that are um, creations of hate. And in general, they are ambush predators. They often are doing exactly what Brannick kind of witnessed there. They will ambush a male and they will tear out its heart and kill it. In general, their exact aim is basically to take the heart of their prey. Um, I think it would be maybe enough to recognize that Valixis, you and Florinda would have seen that. Oh, yeah, I actually described that poorly. I keep forgetting. Valixis and Florinda would have actually seen nude humanoid female torsos, instead of the antlers of these creatures, instead of the actual like deer like antlers of these creatures. They appear differently to females than they do to males, and they're most dangerous aspect is kind of this idea that they are predators on males, in particular. And it's kind of like a constant trying to punish the first male who essentially created this like all female species. Um, but you all got kind of enough of an initial look, that as the adrenaline kind of like sinks in, Brannick is basically going to recognize that from the moment you were kind of awake there, that Stavrin was like already dead. It wasn't the type of thing that he was going to. I don't know if that's comforting. It wasn't the type of thing where he's like suffering. He was basically immediately butchered by these creatures.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brannick's selfish first thought is like better him than me. He wouldn't say that out loud, but that's probably what he'd be thinking. Um, and I think once they were clear and kind of getting a sense of what these things are, um, he would be curious to see if, more just as kind of a thing of interest, whether, from the couple attacks that did hit one of the creatures, whether any of the feathers are fell to the ground within range. He would go looking for any of those.
Make an investigation. I'd say as you kind of go around, you're able to find like 8 of the flight feathers that are in pretty good condition. There's certainly some that are more like down feathers, that is not really anything to collect. It's more or less just like signs of the damage. And some feathers you can find are more or less just like the quill, almost like burned damage, from the actual like firebolt. But I think in general, I think from the magic missile, it sounds good to be able to find, a large number of the flight feathers.
Okay, so he would kind of would be like picking those up and pocketing them and kind of like looking at, presumably like chunks of Stavrin are kind of littered on the ground around him, so he's kind of, um he gets a sense like he starting to suspect who might have sent this guy up here after him, so he's thinking that it might not be too long before, whoever sent him sends someone else. But um he's upset. He's a little upset about Stavrin being killed, but he wasn't like a close friend. So again, his kind of first selfish thought is like, it had to be, they're going to take somebody better him than me. But he would kind of like outwardly make like the, expressions of kind of sadness that he thinks other people would expect when, seeing this, I guess.
Gotcha. I feel like you need to make a deception check here. We need to see how well you're holding this like image of I should be mourning, but I'm actually kind of happy. You're doing it. You're crushing it, bro.
Damn.
There.
Braddock's got like droplets of blood across his person here, and he's doing a great job. Like he's not weeping, but you do feel like there's extra like ice kind of on the underside of his eyes, as if he were.
And he's like shaking his head and like, yeah, like kind of muttering like despondently to himself. But
Johann, tries to give comforting words and tries to arrange the chunks of flesh in a respectful manner, and uh, says whatever words are appropriate.
gosh, they just came out of nowhere. I save him.
No, it's not your fault. Devilry is foot all over this northern lands. Ah, they're there now. They're there now, son.
Yeah, and all of you all did a good enough job on that test that you very well know that even had you not kind of like failed your watch there, Brannick, those things are ambush predators, and they were taking one of the people who was on watch. But when you all are ready to kind of calm things down, I would say you're effectively going to have to start things afresh. But we will pick up with whoever would like to go on watch here.
Johann can take over.
Yeah, and Brannick might suggest that maybe being outside was a bad idea. Well, it didn't work out for Stavron.
In hindsight, with all this blood on me, maybe we chose poorly.
So, push on to the cabin tonight then. We won't get much rest here anyway. Is that what you're suggesting? Oh, I've got an accent now.
Don't worry, that's regular. I've had people ask me, like, wait, is that the same character going? I feel like you're using a different accent. And I'm like, I don't remember what accent I was using. That was the one thing where note cards were a better choice than having digital notes. I kept way better records of my accents when I had note cards for each NPC.
Yeah, that's like the toughest thing I find is like sticking to an accent. Like if I decide like I want to have one for a character, it's trying to actually stick with it and not have it change week to week.
I've found that trying to do mannerisms, like the different ways of speaking that are not accents, is the best way to create characters because it allows me to think of the character, and I think the voice comes from that instead of trying, especially with real accents. Like, it's so easy to try to start with a real accent, and all of a sudden you're like doing a Scottish accent. Like, I did not start with Scottish.
Yeah, I think it was like an XP to level 3 video that I was watching where he's like saying like he comes up with like a when he wants to have like a stick with one, he comes up with like a trigger phrase or word that he like says to kind of like get in the sense of the character. But that's anyway an aside. But anyway, Brannick was kind of not so much suggesting that they try to push on for the cabin, but that they maybe keep watch from within their shelter rather than like doing what Brannick did and stepping outside.
Basically, staying conscious, but inside of the actual shelter so you're not like visible from above.
Right, yeah, because now Brannick's thinking like, okay, I stepped outside, I lit a torch, and I essentially drew them right to us. So he's thinking like, yeah, he would suggest that they, you know, people on watch keep an eye out, but kind of do it from within as much as they can.
All right, Johann will follow that advice.
Gotcha. Let me get 2 perceptions from you. Yeah, so I think overall at this point, I think we're kind of winding everything down here. So your watch is going to go by pretty seamlessly here. You don't really notice anything from within your little area, any signs of any movement. You don't hear anything other than the kind of howls of the wind, all things that on some level have kind of been normalized as this is the sound of Icewind Dale. But assuming you are going to wake up Felixis and share that same information, try to watch from within your shelter. Stay conscious and keep a good watch. You can wake Velixis, and we will go to a couple of perceptions from Velixis.
So you need me to do 2 perceptions? Or
Yeah. I don't know the best way to do this in the long run. I feel like there's some level of describing it is interesting, but at the same time, it feels like we could end now, and I could say that for the next 8 hours, I did not roll any encounters. Um, I don't know if it feels like time wasted to save 15 minutes on ending the game versus like cycling through a night quickly. But that's kind of the weird aspect of it is sometimes I feel like the roles are still important to kind of describe how the night goes. But realistically, there's no more encounters.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea though that like, because like, I mean, it fits with the setting. This is obviously we just saw this is a very dangerous place, and you never want to get into the thought that we can just assume we're going to be able to get a rest in without any incident, unless we're, or maybe not even if we're in like a town.
Exactly. I mean, realistically, everything about Icewind Dale should still be a very much a horror setting. It's very hard to get into people's head that not ever seeing actual natural light is a horrendous thing, let alone the depressing qualities of it. Um, but Velixis's watch is going to go by. You might be a little bit more casual the first time. Perhaps on the wind, you hear sounds that maybe you hear enough that perhaps Arveiaturace might have flown over, going to the Dark Duchess. But you stay up for the rest of your watch to where you then wake up Helka. Eventually, Helka will come and wake up Brannick. Brannick, most of your watch will be through the morning, and for what it's worth, I think next time we are going to start with you all back at Anja's hut, and we will start with the group kind of going forward um, to to that kind of delivery of the whale oil. I do want to kind of remind you from Helka's perspective. She was trying to remind you all, don't talk about the whale oil. I think in the pub, she told you, like, if we're going to talk about what kind of oil it is, let's say it's seal oil. So you all have a pretty good understanding that you might be going to see a whale. Um, and as far as things go for what will be your new sidekick, Justin, it might be seamless to add in a pirate, because that's who you all will kind of be buying the actual whale oil from. But
Yeah, I like that idea.
well, I was gonna say, but the other option is that you guys can just find somebody who is like sheltering in Anja's hut when you guys get back there. So, and that opens everything up to you. Like I feel like getting your sidekick from the pirates crew could be an interesting way to add somebody in, but there's that loner lost in the tundra as the opposite side, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. I do like the pirate idea.